Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. This is Straightforward with Ms.B, episode 76. Thank you guys for returning. As you know, how we always do, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Grab your vices, grab your snacks, whatever you need to do, and let's get straight to it. First and foremost, though, excuse me, before I start off this podcast episode, I did want to get a little bit, get something off my chest, I would say. When people leave comments, especially like on YouTube, I understand that being in this business or being a content creator, you are putting yourself out there basically for people to critique you, leave comments, whether positive or negative. And hey, I understand that. That's the way of the world these days, especially with social media platforms. What I won't tolerate, however, though, is someone being there's a way to offer somebody advice and critique them versus just being downright just rude and nasty and very negative. I don't appreciate those ultra negative commenters. If I do see your comment, you might get blocked from the channel, or your comment itself may get deleted. Get deleted. No one out here knows me. Most of you guys who listen in probably are strangers. But for those people who do know me personally, they know I don't give a fuck. I'm one of those people who just can be. I could be have an evil streak to me as well, especially when I'm angry or somebody done tick me off and something is continuously annoying me. Yeah, I have a bad side, and I don't want people to I don't want to bring that side out of me. So therefore, if I do see negative comments, like I said, when I'm saying I'm like ultra negative comments, then I'll just delete them. So it really won't be in my peripheral. But I know that, like I said, this all comes with the territory. But what I will say is don't fuck with me. You don't really know me on a personal level. Hey, if you don't really like the fact that I may talk slow, or you may feel as though the podcast may be boring for your kind, or whatever the case may be, there's a million other podcasts out there that you have the opportunity to go to their channels and listen to. I am not the only one. I appreciate the time you spent listening to me to come up with that particular comment. Thank you for that, but I don't really need you. So please know that for anybody who's tapping in and listening to me, know that I'm really one of those people who don't really give a shit about a lot of things. So whether you here or there listening or not, I don't really care. But if I'm not your cup of tea, that really doesn't give you the right, though, to leave a very nasty comment. So I just wanted to say that real quick, put that out there for you guys before we get into all of this shenanigans shit that has been happening with Diddy. I know the last two episodes we talked about Wendy Williams, and we also continued that conversation, that fall from grace conversation, talking about Sean P. Diddy Combs as well. Well, this Monday, shit really hit the fan for Mr. Combs, and we're gonna get into some of that. Um, some of that. It looks like Homeland Security, kicked the niggas' doors in. You know what I'm saying? Um, I didn't mean to call him a nigga, but hey, it's just kind of like a thing in the black community that we say. Uh, However, nonetheless, yeah, Homeland Security, kicked his doors in. And I am going to just kind of give you guys a recap, and I'll give you my commentary afterwards. All right. So this is from People Magazine. People Magazine, written by Jack Irvine. And this was looks like published on the 26th of March. Says before Diddy properties were raided by the agents this week, the rapper was already facing several sexual allegations, and we will go into a little bit of detail into those, kind of like a timeline that built up to this federal raid that happened. The 54-year-old music mogul has been accused of abuse, rape, sex trafficking, and other disturbing acts in 5 separate sexual assault lawsuits filed since November 2023. Of course, he has denied all of these allegations. Well, on Monday, Sean Combs' properties in Los Angeles and Miami, and I heard New York as well, were raided by federal agents. Quote unquote, earlier today, Homeland Security investigations New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners. We will provide further information as it becomes available. A Homeland Security investigations representative said in a statement to People magazine. So, as I stated, this raid occurred. It took everybody by storm. With Diddy being such a high profile person, it was all over social media on Monday. It has continued to be the topic of conversation thus far throughout the week. Different developments have came out, and it was just very unfortunate to see the hip hop mogul family just kind of being detained outside of the home. You saw his son King and Justin. It looks like some other staff from the house were also placed in handcuffs while the federal agents went inside of the home, especially the one in Los Angeles, to do their search. The home in Miami, Florida, which is located on Star Island. I didn't really see any footage of people being in handcuffs there. There were later video footage showing Mr. Combs and a person called Brendan, who they are associating him as being a quote-unquote drug mule for Diddy. He was arrested. They were looked to see they were at the Opalaka. It's like a private tarmac for traveling, on the jets and everything. And they were about to, I guess, take off, go somewhere. We don't really know where they were headed to, but they did end up locking up the young Brendan guy because he had drugs on him. It didn't really say how much drugs he had. Probably not like, definitely not on no, El Chapo type of thing, but probably just enough for personal use. But he was locked up nonetheless. Word hasn't got out yet whether or not he was released or got out on bond. But I'm sure we'll find that out. I'm sure if they did lock him up, they probably have had that young man being interrogated, because all of this, when they basically met up with Diddy and the guy at the airport, this is the same time that they were actually raiding his homes. So yeah, I'm sure that interrogation of the Brendan guy is going to be very extensive as they continue to try to find out more information. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully the young guy stay 10 toes down and don't snitch or ask for an attorney. You know what I mean? Don't speak with law enforcement. But hey, we will see. But all of this basically is speculated to have happened because of these back-to-back lawsuits that were filed since basically his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura kicked it off. In November 16, 2023, Cassie filed a lawsuit. In that lawsuit, it alleged rape, sex trafficking, and domestic violence. I did a podcast explaining the whole thing. I think I had a copy of the lawsuit as well, so I won't necessarily go back into details in regards to that. But Cassie was with Sean Combs for over 10 years. I think maybe 13 years in total. But yeah, she basically, from what I know, Sean and his attorneys knew that she was, wanted to file this lawsuit against him earlier in, I believe, January 2023. Um, it was on the hush hush. However, Diddy did not want to, I guess, settle with her at that time. So November turned around and, hey, Cassie went ahead and filed a lawsuit. And unfortunately, this lawsuit opened the floodgates. It allowed the public to get a glimpse into Diddy's lifestyle, and some of the alleged activity that took place during their relationship. And it's just very, very unfortunate. According to the complaint filed in New York, Cassie claimed that she was stuck in a decade-long cycle of abuse, violence, and sex trafficking that included a 2018 RAPE after she tried to leave him, and multiple instances of domestic violence. The complaint obtained by People magazine said that Cassie began working with Combs in 2006, 1 year after they met, stating dating the rapper in September 2007 due to fear of retaliation should she deny him. Remember, Cassie had a boyfriend at the time, and Diddy was dating the mother of King and the twins, former model Kim Porter. Cassie alleged Combs gave her copious amount of drugs. He exhibited uncontrollable rages often, and he would frequently beat her savagely. And all of this was supposedly witnessed by many of his employees. So people who were working under his empire, whether it was for Bad Boy Records or any other companies that he had during that time. So she filed a lawsuit, right? Now, if you want further details in regards to that, you will need to go back, a few episodes of my podcast, and you'll be able to get into more details. So that lawsuit was filed on November 16th, 2023. Then, a few days later, on November 23rd, 2023, a lady named Joy Dickerson Neal, she also alleged the R word, drugging, and revenge porn. This particular lawsuit is ongoing, and I forgot to mention that Cassie's lawsuit was settled in 24 hours. And for an undisclosed amount. Many people believe it was probably maybe $30 to $50 million, but we don't have a concrete answer in regards to that. However, this lawsuit filed by Joy Dickerson Neal, it is still ongoing. According to her lawsuit, Ms. Neal accused him of drugging and R-wording her when she was a college student at Syracuse University in 1991. She claimed that she was the victim of revenge porn after Diddy allegedly recorded the incident and shared the tape with others in the music industry. After meeting Diddy through mutual friends and appearing in one of his music videos, Ms. Neal claimed she reluctantly agreed to a date with the rapper despite already having heard about his alleged mistreatment of women. She alleged that she left her drink at the table with Diddy during the dinner, and soon she could not independently stand or walk. So that's back to the drugging allegations. many of the lawsuits basically does state that this is the way that, you know, he would sedate the victims was, you know, basically putting something in their drinks, and then from that point they would be sedated. Days later, a male friend revealed to Miss Neal that Diddy had viewed the sex tape along with other men. She said that because of this ordeal, basically, her mental health declined, causing her to leave college, and she never received her degree. At this time of the filing, which occurred as the New York State Adult Survivors Act window was about to close, Diddy denied the allegations, claiming Neal fabricated the story. On the same day, November 23rd, another female by the name of Lisa Gardner also alleged the rape word, and her lawsuit is ongoing. This was the third lawsuit. Gardner alleged that Combs and singer-songwriter Aaron Hall took turns R-wording her and a friend in New York City more than 30 years ago. Gardner alleged she met the men at an event hosted by Uptown Records distributor MCA Records at the company offices. Combs and Hall were very flirtatious and handsy with Jane Doe and her friend, offering them drinks through the night. Now we know her name. She's no longer listed as a Jane Doe. Her name is Lisa Gardner. Later, at Aaron Hall's apartment, Gardner alleges that she was coerced into having sex with Combs, after which she laid in the bed, shocked and traumatized. As she was in the process of getting dressed, Hall barged into the room, pinned her down, and forced Jane Doe to have sex with him. Oh, Jane Doe must be the friend, possibly. I don't know. People magazine, you need to write a little bit clearer in this article. According to the lawsuit, the other woman had been forced to have sex with Combs and Hall in another room. Diddy allegedly became violent days after the assault, with Gardner claiming he choked her to the point that she passed out. Again, Combs' attorneys denies the allegations in a statement that they made to People magazine. These are fabricated claims, falsely alleging misconduct from over 30 years ago and filed at the last minute. This is nothing but a money grab. Because of Mr. Combs' fame and success, he is an easy target for anonymous accusers who lie without consequence or conscience for financial benefit. All right, so from there, a fourth lawsuit from a Jane Doe was filed on December 6th. This person alleged sex trafficking and gang R-word. This particular lawsuit is also ongoing. This woman accused Combs, as well as former Bad Boy Entertainment president Harvey Pierre and a third individual labeled as the third assailant, of sex trafficking and gang R-wording when she was 17 years old. Jane Doe claimed that Pierre approached her at a lounge in Michigan and convinced her to take a private jet with him and the third assailant to Combs' recording studio in New York City. So this is the sex trafficking part of it as well. And I believe the sex trafficking is primarily the reason why Homeland Security did the raid, because it is known that Diddy has CCTV cameras all over his properties, and I believe they were in search of these camera footages and any other type of equipment also. like phones, laptops, and whatnot. All right, so back to the article. Um, Once Jane Doe arrived in New York City, she alleges she was given drugs and alcohol before viciously gang R-worded, one after the other. As alleged in the complaint, the defendants preyed on a vulnerable high school teenager as part of a sex trafficking scheme that involved plying her with drugs and alcohol and transporting her by private jet to New York City, where she was gang R-worded by three individual defendants at Mr. Combs' studio. Of course, Mr. Combs and his attorneys denied the allegations to People magazine in a statement that they provided to People magazine. All right, so fast forward. That was on December 6th. Christmas holiday, New Year holiday passed. Then here comes another lawsuit. On February 26th, Rodney Little Rod Jones alleged sexual harassment and drugging, and this lawsuit as well is ongoing. Little Rod, who's a former producer and videographer for Mr. Combs, alleging that for almost a year, Diddy sexually harassed, drugged, and threatened him. Now, Little Rod basically was assisting Combs with production because Little Rod is a well-known, like I said, producer. He's a musician as well. He plays a number of instruments. You know, he's highly regarded in the music industry. But he was working with Diddy on the Love album from September 2022 to November 2023. He lived in various U.S. cities along with Diddy, on Diddy's properties, and also would go on vacations with him during that time. Jones claimed that he witnessed, experienced, and endured many things that went far beyond his role as a producer on the Love album. In Jones's lawsuit, he names Justin Combs, Diddy's adult son, his oldest, Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Karam, Universal Music Group CEO, Sir Lucian Grange, and former Motown Records CEO, Ethiopia Habtemariam, were all named as defendants in this lawsuit. Jones claimed that he was required to constantly video film Combs, and in turn secured he was able to basically gather hundreds of hours of video footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in serious illegal activity. Now, I did discuss as well on a previous podcast that Jones did go like to his social media, like TikTok and stuff. At first he was asking for like his money. I'm assuming that he wasn't able to get like his publishing rights, so he basically just kind of lost out on a lot of money working on this album. And many thought that, hey, this was the motive, you know what I'm saying, behind him eventually filing this lawsuit was, because of money. But in that lawsuit, Jones alleged that, he was a victim of constant, unsolicited, and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus by Diddy. He claimed that, Diddy showed him a videotape of producer Stevie J having intercourse with a man, which that was later debunked. The actual individual who was in that videotape was a porn star. And he came out to say, hey, that's not Stevie J, that's me. So Jones's initial lawsuit had a lot of holes in it, and people, were definitely skeptical because a lot of it didn't really make sense. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, Little Rod also was seeking, basically, trying to file a $30 million lawsuit for him. And of course, Diddy's lawyer, Sean Hawley, denied the allegations in a statement, again claiming these are falsities and this is merely just a money grab attempt. Now, from that point, there has been two additional amended versions of um Little Rod's lawsuit. His attorney has amended them, and additional information has come out, um which kind of has people looking at other people on the side eyeing them, as JT would say on her new record. Um, in this most recent amended versions, I believe the lawsuit started off as 75 pages. Now I think it's up to maybe like 100 page. But yeah, definitely. He then in the amended version named Young Miami, 50 Cent's baby mother, Daphne Joy, an Instagram model named Jade, who I believe she might have worked in maybe a strip club in New York as well. But basically, in that, alleged that they were sex workers for Diddy, and they were paid a monthly stipend. Now, some would say, okay, well, Diddy's a freak. He's having fun. He has the money to pay them a monthly stipend. I mean, so what? That's not illegal to do. I guess they tried to use the word sex worker to somewhat make it in the realm of prostitution, but if they were like his little side chicks and they were getting paid to sleep with them, and hey, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think really, I don't know. I don't even know why they put that in the amended version. Uh, I really don't understand why, but a lot of people have been clowning on Miami in regards to that, because also in the amended version, Little Rod basically stated that on one occasion they were traveling somewhere. The quote unquote drug mule Brendan forgot a drug named Tusi, which I had never heard of it. Apparently, it is powder cocaine mixed with, I believe, ketamine or ecstasy, some other drug. But he had forgot it. So they stated that the chief of staff, KK, contacted Young Miami and asked her to basically cop it and bring it to the plane or on the trip. And that's what happened. So it looks like, it's been alleged that Young Miami was carrying drugs for Puff, which is so unfortunate for her. Young Miami, I understand that, on you a city girl and you sticking by your man and you going places and you doing what needs to be done to keep him happy, but you have to just understand that everything comes with a consequence. And I guess I'll kind of go into my commentary at this point. Now, Sean Diddy Combs, I feel as everybody need to be held accountable for the actions that they do throughout their lifetime, whether they happened 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 20 years ago. It really does not matter, because at some point when you do evil or bad things, most times it comes back to you in some shape, form, or fashion, right? If he is found to be guilty, if they end up locking him up and he gets found guilty by the court of law in due time, then he just have to, of course, hold himself accountable for that and do the time if that is ultimately his fate. At the same time, Who wants to see someone who millions of people have looked up to? He's inspired so many young people, especially in the black community. You know, someone who came from, I don't think Diddy necessarily came from like a impoverished environment, but come from the inner city and ended up, making something of himself. He became a powerful man, a billionaire at that. No one wants to see the downfall, whether they are white or black. We don't really want to see a person just go down that way. At least I don't. But I do like people to hold themselves accountable. And if you did bad, you just did bad, right? Especially if you are found guilty in the court of law, not in the court of public opinion. That doesn't faze me at all, but in the court of law. So right now, all we have is speculations, allegations. That's all we can kind of go off of. But I thought that Uncle Luke, he made an interesting observation, and I just wanted to play it for you guys real quick. Let me see.
Your sneakers, you telling people you don't want them selling your sneakers. Or you don't want them they stealing money from you, ain't paying you off the liquor. Them people like, hold the fuck on. Okay, get the lawsuit. Now when you get the lawsuit, you got to go to the judge, state judge. They definitely own the state judge because they're going to buy the number one law firm who put the most money into the state judge, into the local judge campaign to make him the local judge. Big bank take little bank. It goes back to CeeLo. The federal judge, they're going to then find out what senator and congressman that called the president to say, I need an appointment for my federal judge, because how do you get an appointment for a federal judge is because I'm a major donor. And hey, man, I got a friend of mine that's a judge, man, on the circuit level. Man, I would love for him to be a federal judge, and I'm going to max out in your campaign. Matter of fact, I'm going to generate a couple $100,000 or $1 million to put in your campaign. You win the seat. You didn't call up the president. President didn't say, hey, look here, man, nominate this motherfucker right here.
That's how
So
it
now
works.
you got a fucking judge in here.
Mm-hmm.
You got the state judge. So then now you black man who don't own these people company, you want to talk all your cash money. And you want to go after these people, what ends up happening? They start the smear campaign because they down with the media. They got to smear you before you go into the courtroom of your peers. They go, okay, we can't settle with this dude. We can't have no voice of reason. He want to act crazy. Now we're going to go after you. Now we're going to call up our same senator. Hey, man, I need you, man, go issue a search warrant, man. I need you to drag this. In the hood, that's what we call. I want you to drag his. I want you to have all kind of allegations. So by the time he come in this courtroom, he going to wish he know we're going to take every fucking dime you got. Because we made you. You didn't make us. God damn it. You with my stock. You with my money. You with me. I'm going to with you. I'm going to break you down to the lowest term. That's how this shit go, boss. So when you with them people that put that bread in your pocket that made you, they're gonna take you down to the lowest terms. Sound like the movie Scarface. Bingo.
All right. So the first part of that actually cut off. But basically what Uncle Luke is talking about is the fact that, and this is for all the conspiracy theorists, people out there that kind of like that type of stuff. Diddy basically recently, I believe last year, he was basically trying to sue the Diego company, which owned, no, I believe it's Diego, which owned the Ciroc brand that he was kind of like the face of, right? They were paying him millions and millions of dollars every year to help market and promote the brand. You know, we would always see him popping up on the social media feed with the doing commercials and stuff like that with a new flavor of Ciroc, right? At some point, Diddy felt as though, hey, you know, I'm doing this. I need more equity into this particular brand because essentially, shit, people know about Ciroc because of me. So, um, mind you, the liquor company that owns it is worth over $100 billion, right? So what Uncle Luke is saying that this could have something to do with why we're seeing all of these allegations, raids, you know, all of this stuff happening now to Diddy because hey, he wanted to now start fucking with the white man's dollar and they ain't going for that shit. So what they do is large companies and people who own those large corporations like that, what they do is they do it the slick way. They begin to support politicians, whether it's on federal level, state level, city level. They start basically pumping dollars into these politicians, who then the politician run for an office because they have a large backing, financial support backing, then they end up winning that office, and they're the ones who make the laws and preside over the courts and things of that, the judges and all of that. And once you have like these judges and stuff in play, if there's something illegal or reasons why Diddy have to go to court, and say for instance it's a judge that's sitting presiding over his case or trial or whatnot, who do you think that judge is going to kind of side with? He's going to probably side with the company or individuals or supporters who have assisted him with even being placed in that position in the first place. And not only that, large companies such as that alcohol company as well have major ties to news media outlets. So yeah, they're also able to support these media platforms that continue to pump out article and news story after news story, basically, you know, dehumanizing Puff and making him look to the public as such a bad person, right? And all of this does happen. It does happen. People talk about the Illuminati and all of that. It ain't necessarily even got to be called Illuminati. It's just people in high places. And at the end of the day, it's all about the almighty dollar. I swear, money rules the world. That's where power comes from. So if you think of the Elon Musk, you know, people, damn, what's the man name? The Bill Gates, people like that. These are very, very powerful people who have powerful friends, and if they need something done, they can get it done by any means. And Uncle Luke believes that because Diddy wanted to sue that alcohol company, then they became his public enemy number one. And therefore, they're doing everything in their power to basically shut Diddy down. And it's very unfortunate if that is the truth. Because again, we don't want to see, especially in the black community, we got a handful of billionaires, a handful of them. You know, it takes us a lot to get to that point. These people be, you know, our leaders, people who inspire us to be great. We don't want to see them just go down the drain right before our eyes. We don't want to see that happen. So I'm interested to see how this all plays out for Mr. Combs. Hopefully his children do not get caught up in all of this shit. Hopefully they will be safe. The sons, the daughters, you know. Hopefully Diddy has already conjured up an exit plan, whatever that plan is. You know, even if he does move to a different country that doesn't extradite, you know, it really doesn't matter. There's really, if he's as innocent as he says that he is, there should not be a reason for him to run out of the country. Anyway, you know, stay and fight for it. Fight for your name, man. That's what I want him to do. Fight for his name. And this is for him, his family, his mama. But another thing though that I want to mention before I get out of here. You know, some people like Uncle Luke mentioned that, hey, it's kind of weird though. We don't see many of Diddy's friends. You know, we don't see many of his friends speaking out in support of him. And why is that? That's quite strange. I think Tyrese, the singer, mentioned something the other day. You know, he had a few kind words and saying he was praying for the kids, praying for Diddy. You had rapper Slim Thug out of Houston, Texas. You know, he's kind of always kind of stepped up in support of Diddy. But outside of them, you really haven't seen anyone. And Diddy knows everybody. But no one has came to his defense. So it's very, very interesting. It's very, very interesting. But anyway, I thank you guys for tuning in on this episode of Straightforward with Ms.B. Don't forget to continue to tune in. Every 2 weeks I had to miss a week. You know, my grandmother who has dementia is not doing so well. So a lot of, you know, my time is kind of been focused on that. But so keep her in a prayer, keep her in you guys' prayers. And until next episode of the podcast, I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Easter holiday. And till we talk again, peace out.